In 1993, 7 hikers were trekking near Lake Baikal in Siberia when they were suddenly overcome with horrific symptoms. Blood streamed from their eyes and noses. They clutched at their throats and bashed their heads against a rock. Was this strange incident connected to the deaths at Dyatlov Pass several decades earlier? It happened in a place called Khamar Daban, nestled in the Buryatia region of southern Siberia, right beneath Lake Baikal. Now, this area is a favorite spot for hikers because of its wild beauty, but in 1993, something terrible happened. 7 hikers went on a trek, led by their tough but respected instructor, Lyudmila Korovina. She was like a hiking master, known for pushing her students hard to make them strong and skilled. But tragically, this adventure turned into a nightmare. None of those 7 hikers made it back. Only Lyudmila survived, but she never spoke about what happened, not even after telling the police her story in 1993. Now, let's dive into what we know about the Khamar Daban Incident and some theories that people have come up with to explain the mystery. Lyudmila Korovina, who was really good at surviving outdoors and teaching others how to do it too. People called her a master because she was so skilled. She was tough on her students, but they all said she was a great teacher who helped them become confident hikers. In 1993, Lyudmila and 6 of her students planned a hiking trip to Khamar Daban mountain range. Lyudmila was leading the group. She knew the area really well, and it was considered a safe place to hike, especially in the summer. She had trained with her students and was close to all of them. The closest student to Lyudmila was Alexander Sasha Krisin, who was 23 years old. Sasha was like a son to her because she had known him for a long time. The other students were Timur Bapanov, 15, Victoria Zalesova, 16, Valentina Valya Utochenko, 17, Tatiana Filipenko, 24, and Denis Shvachkin, 19. On a sunny day in the village of Marino, the 7 set out for their adventure in the mountains. Led by Natalia, Lyudmila's daughter, they were excited to tackle the Alps. They had been looking forward to this trip for months and had become a tight-knit group during their preparations. The first couple of days went smoothly as they climbed the Retranslator summit. But on August 4th, the weather took a turn for the worse. Heavy rains soaked their supplies, slowing them down as they descended. Despite the nearby trees offering cover, they decided to camp in an exposed area due to exhaustion. That night, they struggled to start a fire, but remained in good spirits. The next morning, they successfully built a fire and had breakfast before setting off. They planned to surprise Natalia's group, confident in their quick progress. However, when Natalia and her group reached the meeting spot, Lyudmila wasn't there. Natalia assumed the bad weather had delayed them, so they continued hiking. Little did they know, something more serious had happened to Lyudmila and the others. On August 10th, some people out kayaking near the Khamar Daban mountains saw something strange in the trees. They spotted a girl standing there, looking at them. She was all alone and seemed really upset, covered in dried blood. The kayakers, feeling uneasy, approached her cautiously. When they did, the girl, named Valentina Utochenko, started crying and tried to tell them her story. She said she was trekking with 6 other people. The kayakers, worried for her safety, took her to the local police and reported what she told them. But Valentina couldn't really explain what happened until later, and even then, it was really scary and confusing. So here's what she said went down. After breakfast, the group started coming down the mountain, but then, out of nowhere, one guy, Sasha, started screaming. He was foaming at the mouth and bleeding from his eyes and ears. Then, he just collapsed and stopped moving. Lyudmila, one of the others, ran to him, but he was out cold. Soon after, she started showing the same symptoms as Sasha. She was bleeding and shaking. Then, she fell down on top of him. Tatiana, another member of the group, rushed to help, but she couldn't breathe properly and ended up knocking herself out on a rock. Denis hid behind a big rock, while Timur and Victoria ran away in a hurry. Valya felt stuck after watching her 3 best friends suddenly get really sick and then collapse. Timur and Victoria fell down and stopped moving, tearing their clothes, coughing up blood, and clutching their throats. Valya and Dennis ran as fast as they could when they realized they were the only ones left alive. But Dennis didn't last long. He collapsed too, shaking like crazy. Valya got scared and ran off, leaving everything behind except her tent and the clothes she was wearing. Valya hurried down the mountain, trying to put as much distance between herself and the scary scene as possible. She set up her tent under some trees and fell asleep. When Valya woke up and realized she was still alive, she knew she needed stuff to survive alone in the woods. But to get it, she had to go back to where her friends had died. It was scary, but she had no other choice. She climbed back up the mountain, following her own footsteps. When she got there, she saw her friends still lying on the ground. Valya quickly grabbed what she needed from their stuff, making sure they were really gone, and then headed towards some power lines. She walked along the power lines for 4 days, hoping someone would find her. But when nobody did, she found a river and followed it. Finally, after 4 days, some people in kayaks found her and rescued her. The tale begins with a report to the police, sparking a search that kicks off on August 24th. It takes 2 days for helicopters to locate the hikers' remains. Why the delay? Well, Valentina, one of the hikers, hadn't shared her side of the story yet. Now, here's the eerie part. All but one of the hikers, Lyudmila, who had a heart attack, were found to have died from hypothermia. But get this, they also had bruised lungs. Yet, the cause of death was pinned on a protein shortage due to starvation and extreme cold. And here's the kicker. The deaths were ruled unintentional. But hold on, folks. There's more to this mystery than meets the eye. Cue the theories. First up, the military experiment theory. Some believe the hikers stumbled into a top-secret Russian experiment and met a grim fate. But wait, why would such an experiment happen in a public area during tourist season? And what about Valentina's survival? Then, there's the nerve agent theory. Symptoms reported by Valentina match those of nerve agent exposure. Could a deadly nerve toxin have been to blame? But where did it come from, and why was only Valentina spared? Now let's entertain Mr. Morbid's personal theory. He suggests lingering nerve agents could have been washed down by rain, leading to the hiker's demise. But how plausible is this scenario? And don't forget the possibility of mushroom poisoning. Could a wrong pick of mushrooms have sent the hikers into a deadly spiral of hallucinations and hypothermia? As we unravel these theories, remember, there are no clear answers. The Khamar Daban Incident remains one of history's greatest enigmas. So, until technology catches up with the mystery, we're left with questions. Rest in peace, comrades.